Coming up next on The Voice of Alabama Politics, our special guest is Lieutenant Governor Will Ainsworth. Also, the V-Team takes a look at building the wall. And the state has a clean lottery bill.
Mr. Clean gets rid of dirt and grime and grease in just a minute. Mr. Clean will clean your whole house and everything that's in it. Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
It won't stay clean if the Porch Creek Indians have their way. They don't want you to have a lottery. All this and much, much more coming up next on The V. Welcome to The Voice of Alabama Politics, where we tackle the tough issues so you have the hard facts. I'm your host, Bill Britt, and as always, I'm joined by the V-Team. Welcome all.
Hi, guys.
Hello, hello, hello.
This past week, Susan, was an abject lesson in political pornography. I mean, you know, the difference between covering porn and politics in Alabama is you have to go behind the scenes in politics to find out who's getting screwed. And Josh, this week, the people of Alabama got booed, screwed, and tattooed, didn't they?
Yeah, I would say that is right. Not yet. I guess there's some process in getting screwed. Not yet. You know, but we're well on our way.
Yeah, well,
we've been to dinner.
Yeah.
We've been to dinner and on the car ride home.
But we're not quite to dessert.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm just all right. So Jim McClendon, Senator Jim McClendon from Springville, Republican, introduced a clean lottery bill. Now, clean lottery bill means that it's only one subject, and it's only the lottery. Susan, everybody who is honest thinks that's a good bill.
They do. And it is a good bill. It's very, like you said, it's very clean. It deals only with lottery and things that surround lottery. It doesn't involve table gaming. It doesn't involve any of the other aspects of gaming. But it also is nice the way he's setting it up. There's a commission that goes with it to regulate it. The money from the actual lottery will be split between the general fund and the ETF. And to me, it looks like a good bill, but there are some people out there that want to poison it too.
Yeah. Now, Josh, I mean, that is what Governor Kay Ivey has asked for, Speaker Mac McCutcheon's asked for. They've asked for a clean lottery. Now, all these people have to do, in truth, is allow the people to vote.
Right.
I mean, they don't have to approve of this or not. They just have to say, vote to let them.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on it?
Well, so what Jim McClendon has done here in terms of a clean lottery bill is he has introduced things that are related to a lottery that most other states who have a lottery have. You know, you have your scratch-off tickets, you have a lot of the other things, and a lot of the terminals that are out there, and they're called video lottery terminals. And they, you know, people have, I think our friends on the reservation refer to them as as slot machines. That's not correct. They're not slot machines at all. The inner workings of them are much different. And essentially what the inner workings of them are is it's the scratch-offs, but in electronic form. As a matter of fact, you know, you have this computer program that makes the scratch-offs that goes out. When you use them in this machine, when these machines do whatever it is that they do internally there to let people play the games, it eliminates a scratch-off from the market.
Right.
So you're basically taking scratch-offs that would be printed and gone out, and you eliminate them and you play them electronically instead. So that everything is related to the lottery here in terms of this bill. And if you have a problem with that, then I would really be interested to hear the specifics of your problem.
Now, one of the things, Chip, that Jim McClendon did not address, because it is a straight lottery bill, is he did not address the Porch Creek Indians in any way. But now they have come and said that they oppose this. They even lied and said that it wasn't a clean lottery. And I mean, let's just be frank, that's a lie. It is a clean lottery. and they lied and said they're slot machines. They are not slot machines.
No, they needed to muddy the water. They're trying to keep a monopoly over there. So, you know, they've got a nice little thing going, and they're trying to keep it.
So they've come up and made their argument, and McClendon says we don't need to listen to them.
Yeah, I mean, we shouldn't. They are their own sovereign entity that exists within the state of in the state of Alabama. We should not. It's totally okay for them to advocate for their interests, okay? But the problem is when legislators are kowtowing to what they want to do, and that's what's happening. Because we know from the polls, we know from talking to people on the ground that a lottery is something that everybody wants. All of the money in Alabama is flooding into the lotteries in the other state, and the only thing standing between the legislature allowing the people to vote on it and that happening is the Poarch Creek Band of Indians.
Yeah, you know, let's think of it like, you know, I compared them to Mexico.
Yeah.
But let's go even closer. Let's just say the state of Tennessee came here and said to us, we don't want you to have a lottery or any sort of gaming because that's going to really hurt us in taking in our own stuff. We would rather y'all continue to just come to our state and buy the lottery tickets here and help our people.
Well,
how would that go over?
Right.
I mean, and they were brash enough about it that they slid a piece of paper, a letter, under every legislator's door in the State House this week saying what they would and would not accept in our lottery.
And here's, go ahead.
I mean, that's because they're bankrolling everything.
We have the list.
Yeah.
When you pay for people, you can slide things.
Well, and it's like Senator Marsh came out this week and said he might sponsor a lottery bill that favors the Indians. He even sat down and met with them, and you know, he's undercutting Jim McClendon. I don't understand why Marsh is coming up with a bill. Oh, wait a minute. He's running for Senate.
Oh, yeah.
He needs money.
That and the other bills he floated out that were ridiculous this week.
He needs to be careful, though, because walking down this fence right now of being the person that's going to, you know, ruin a lottery bill in the Alabama legislature right when he's trying to run for Senate, that could go two different ways.
Yeah.
And one of them's not too great for if he wants to be in Washington.
And with 70-cent approval on the lottery and statewide, that's going to hurt.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the things that they're all, and these guys can't see beyond the first ripple usually, but one of the things that we were talking about the other day is they really need to look at the fact that, all right, they made a lot of people mad when they passed the gas tax.
Yeah.
They'll make a lot more people happy when they pass a bill that says you can vote.
Yeah, this thing is ridiculously popular. Having a lottery and being able to vote on the lottery. There's 95% of the state believes that they should be able to vote on whether or not they have a lottery. And then the other portion on the back side of this that will allow some legislation if people agree to it later on, is sports wagering in there. And now this is something that has to be done completely separately from this bill, but it does open the door to be able to do that. That is also extremely popular in this state.
Well, and we're going to have to
going on.
We have to let that. Yes, we already have gaming. It's just owned by one group, the Poarch Creek Indians.
Yes.
You're watching the voice of Alabama politics. We'll be right back. Our special guest today is Lieutenant Governor Will Ainsworth.
What a great opportunity for your success. Adding 500,000 highly skilled employees to our workforce by 2025 is how we stay ahead in Alabama. Our economy is stronger than it's been in years, and a skilled workforce is more important than ever. Things move fast, so choose your path. Your success is waiting, plus a great future for Alabama. Success Plus. Go for it.
The Energy Institute of Alabama promotes reliable, affordable, and clean energy to help grow our economy, create high-paying jobs, and build public support for Alabama's energy industry. Access to clean, affordable energy continues to be an issue of vital importance in the halls of government and around the kitchen tables across our nation. The Energy Institute of Alabama is the best source of energy industry information and how it affects households across the state, from convenient energy production to alternative fuels to solar power and beyond.
What are you doing today, babe?
I thought I'd head down to the lake with the guys, do a little fishing. Of course, none of us will be wearing our seat belts. I'll lose control of the truck, wrap it around a tree, and kill us all.
Okay.
Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
Welcome back to the voice of Alabama politics. Our special guest today is Lieutenant Governor Will Ainsworth. Governor, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, great to be with you as always.
You are our first guest in our studio, and so we thank you for joining us here.
Yeah, studio is awesome, and certainly honored to be your first guest. Thank you.
Well, thank you. You had an agenda when you ran for office. You are now the Lieutenant Governor of the great state of Alabama, and you have some priorities that you're making known. Share with us and our studio, our audience, what is your number one priority as Lieutenant Governor right now?
Absolutely. Our number one priority is workforce development. And the reason we kind of identified workforce development as our number one priority is when we went around the state talking to people, the number one thing we heard from business owners around this state is the number one limiting factor to growth is people. That, if they could hire more people, they could grow their business 20, 30, 40%. And so, that's an easy thing to solve, but it's complex and it involves a lot of different layers. And so, we've already hit the ground running. We're working with the governor's office, and they're great. And, this is obviously a big priority for the governor's office as well. We're working with the two-year college system, working with K through 12, and then, getting the business community involved. And, we kind of worked on some projects, as you know, before in Marshall County. We had a project called Project Graduation that, we worked with there where we linked industry with education. And one of the things that we, found out there and that we really believe is that everybody's got a God-given ability and they got a passion. And part of our goal in education is to make sure we get every child ready for the workforce. And that's what we intend to do.
Well, and you're a business person. You come out of business background. You've run successful businesses. So you know what it's like to have to hire people. And one of the things we hear from the big companies and the small is they need more capable work. And you feel like this is the solution or a big part of the solution.
It is. And one of the things we really got to do in this state is make sure we utilize technology. And so we're working on developing an app. And, what this app's going to do is list all the jobs within a 30 to 60 mile radius of, where that student lives. Because what we found is, parents have done a poor job in a lot of instances of telling kids about the opportunities out there. But we want to make sure every child understands, what these jobs pay, what skill sets you need, what education level you need, what certificate you need, whether it's a welder. Obviously we want to make sure they're getting a certificate, and when they get finished with high school, they're trained even with a 2-year partnership or just in the high school to go right into a job. If it's construction, there's all kinds of things. If you want to be an accountant, obviously you're going to need to go to college. So we just want to really educate people about what's out there, what do these jobs pay, because in a lot of instances, trades pay better than, some of these. And so we've got to make sure people know that. And the part of it's just using technology to let people know that.
Well, this is the first time we've ever done this with a panel, so I'm going to defer over to Susan for the next one.
I want to ask you about the bill that just passed through the Senate this week involving the repeal of Common Core. Do you feel like maybe, I know that the initial bill was kind of very plain, very simple. There wasn't a lot of think through to it in there. But do you feel like the amendments that you guys got to put on it during the chamber session actually going to kind of stabilize it so it won't be such a disruption for the teachers and the children?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the amendments were good, and I think that's part of the process is to make sure when a bill gets introduced, you vet it. And the education community brought up several good issues, and so. But I think the thing that I'm convinced of is that Common Core has to go in Alabama, and here's why. It's based on data. When you look at the test results from NAEP, in 2003, we were at 53 on how they rate Alabama. All right, in 2011, when Common Core got implemented, we were at 60. Guess where we're at now? 55. So we were going up before Common Core got implemented, and now we're at 55, sliding back down. And so, we believe it's not the teachers, it's not the locals. I believe our state school board and the policies have failed our state. And so that's why we're changing that. We're going to take the ball and lead. And I think, with the changes we've made, we've got several years to make sure that we have the best standards in the country, and we're going to do that.
To kind of piggyback off of that just a little bit, because I think we're obviously going to disagree a little bit on the Common Core and where it fits here. But the one thing I did notice was there were a lot of business leaders that came out this week and said that they were in favor of the Common Core standards, and they worried that repealing those would set us back in terms of workforce development. Is that a concern that you have?
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime the business leaders, and so I want to say this, we talk to the business community, we want to make sure that we have the best standards, and that's what the business community wants. And so, with the amendments in the bill, they're going to have the security that they need to make sure that happens. And so our position is this, though. It hasn't been working, and the data shows that. And so, so if it's not working, what can we do to fix it? And that's the way the process is set up, that we can actually have, in my opinion, hopefully, we'll draft and bring in experts to make sure we do this, the best standards in the country, and that's our goal.
Do you think it's a standards problem? Because we weren't great prior to the implementation of Common Core. We were pretty low. Do you think that something needs to be looked at in terms of funding and the resources that we're devoting to our public school classroom?
Yeah, no, certainly standards are part of the problem. There's a lot of other things. I mean, pre-K is one, for instance, where, we're moving the needle. We lead the nation, our 21st century pre-K program. And I think obviously, going back to the parent situation with that, right? Why does pre-K matter? And so, here's something interesting. I went and talked to, when I was a representative, all the kindergarten teachers, and the thing that stood out in my mind that they told me is they said, Will, we need pre-K. All right, but I want you to understand why. I said, why do we need pre-K? They said, parents aren't doing their job anymore. We literally have kids coming into kindergarten that have never been read to. They don't understand what an A is. And this is the most developmental time of a child's brain. So I think, obviously, my vision for Alabama on pre-K is to make sure every child that would like to have pre-K would have access and availability. And so I think those are things, there's a lot of things we need to do to answer your question, not just standards. But why would we want to settle? Why not have the best standards in the country? And that's my position on that.
You have 3 children, is that right?
That's right, yeah. Twin boys, Hayes and Hunter that are 9, and a daughter Addie that's 7. So got our hands full.
Yeah, so you've had some firsthand experience with Common Core then, I would guess.
That's right. I mean, and like I said, I think even in the education community, a lot of the teachers and principals are split on what's best. And what we're saying on this debate is, let's just make sure we have the best, and let's try to, there's things in there that are probably good, and let's keep that. But there's things in there that are bad. But again, I just want to go back to the data is what convinced me that it's not working.
I want to switch gears here. You're a new lieutenant governor, who obviously gets lots of phone calls. And,
how about that? Yeah, sorry about that.
No problem.
Yeah.
That was the Senate calling to see if you were going to run. And we only got about 50 seconds here. But you brought in a fairly diverse staff. Some people are seasoned, some people are brand new. But it's an impressive group from our standpoint.
Yeah, thank you. We got a great staff. Our chief of staff is Judy Miller. To our knowledge, the first female chief of staff in the lieutenant governor's office. She's doing a tremendous job. 30 years experience in basically in government. She's got great institutional knowledge. Jess Skaggs, a friend of y'all's, that obviously doing a tremendous job as our deputy chief of staff. Who? You know him? You know Jess? Yeah.
Charlana's husband.
But I worked for Commissioner McMillan in Department of Ag. Has a tremendous grasp just on a lot of policy issues. Man, great guy. And so we're very fortunate with the people we have on our team. You're only good as the people around you. So we're very thankful to have great people around us.
Well, we have great expectations for you, and so far you've not let us down. So thank you for being on the show with us.
Hey, always an honor.
All right.
Thank you.
You're always welcome back. You're watching the voice of Alabama politics. Our guest today has been Lieutenant Governor Will Ainsworth. We'll be right back with more news and analysis.
Hey man, what are you doing today?
Playing the game. Thought I'd go out for a drive later maybe. Text some friends while I'm doing it. Scroll through social media. Kill a family 4 and a head-on collision.
Cool, man.
Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
this past week, the Senate Republican supermajority voted along party lines to elect to give an organization called Go We Fund the Wall Incorporated the right to have a checkoff on state income. There's only kind of a big problem there. This is a nonprofit, and they've been sold as if this money is going to fund Donald Trump's border wall between U.S. and Mexico. I mean, you've looked at this.
Only
right?
a little problem. Just a tiny problem. The problem is that we're giving state income tax money, refund money, to a GoFundMe that, can't go to build the wall, which is what it's supposed to do.
Right.
The problem is that we are, they can check off a box on their income tax and give a portion of their refund as a donation to this organization. The big problem is that the money can't be used to build the wall unless Congress appropriates it. Even if the money is donated to this GoFundMe for that purpose, Congress has to appropriate it. The problem is not where does the money come from. The problem is Congress has to appropriate it, and they're not going to agree to do that.
Right. Well, the founder of this group has said, he said, Josh, that this money can't be used to build the wall by the federal government. But why are we giving it to them to build the wall then?
Why are we giving it to them anyway? Isn't Mexico paying for this whole thing? Is there a part of the refund that's coming back from Mexico at some point? Look, the whole thing is so dumb. This is so, from the original idea to this guy with his scam. He's making.
He has already had to give money back to donors once.
There is no mechanism,
Millions.
and there's no mechanism for a nonprofit to give money to the government. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, and first of all, he had to give back money once. Second of all, the first time after all of this hoopla, he only got a couple dozen $1 million. And you know how much 10 miles of the border wall cost? A couple million. He could build 5%.
Yeah, he got kicked off of Facebook, got kicked off of GoFundMe. This is a stellar fella here.
Now, wait a minute. He has gone into the coin business.
Right.
He has gone into the coin business. You now can go on, and this is a nonprofit, so all the money can be spent however nonprofits spend it. And so there's Alabama taxpayer money that they could be using for their
we're going to have velvet Trump wall art is what's coming.
But they have coins with the founders on the front and the wall on the back, and they have one with Trump on the front and one on the back. You get either one of those for $49, or they have a gold edition where the founder's face is on the front, and then you get Trump and him. All, Susan, for the low price of $149.99.
Come on, people. Come on. Anybody that's gotten anywhere near a nonprofit knows that they are behind the corporate veil. You cannot see how they spend the money. And let's face it, the last thing this guy did, he's raising money for the VA. When the reporters started calling the hospitals that were supposed to be getting this money, they didn't see a dime of it.
Look, this whole thing it's all one big scandal. From him doing it to Del Marsh pitching this thing, he needs the attention.
I think Marsh did this because he wants to run for Senate.
Yeah.
I think that's all it is.
Common Core?
I know what they should do. They should just make a box on the income tax return where you can just elect to, give some more money to the federal government. I'm sure they would like that.
Yeah.
There you go. If they want to build a wall, that's the way to do it. Smart idea. All right, well, I want to move on to a place where the government takes your stuff without probable cause and then won't give it back. And that is our civil forfeiture laws here, Josh, in Alabama are just broken.
Broken? They should be illegal. You can lose your stuff, your legitimate possessions here, without ever being charged with a crime.
So if they...
forever. You can lose it forever without ever being charged with a crime.
Even if you get acquitted.
Yes.
It can take years to get your stuff back. If you ever get it back, then you probably
We're talking about your house, your car. We're not talking about, your mugs in your kitchen. We're talking about big stuff.
Well, let me break this down. So I'm driving out here in my 2014 Jeep Grand Cherokee. And they pull me over and they say, Britt, we suspect... that you may be trafficking in some kind of drug because you're so loopy.
Yes.
Right. So they take my car.
Because you've used it you've paid for it through drug money, clearly.
Through drug money.
Clearly.
And so
even if there's no link whatsoever between it and the drug money.
Right. So they've got my car now, and a judge, or they say, well, we're not going to charge you. We're going to let you go. But we're keeping your car. Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, that's exactly what we're talking about, because then you have to file a lawsuit against them to get your property returned, and which they will fight even if they know they're wrong. They do it all the time.
Now, I've heard, and Susan, you help me if I'm wrong, but I've heard of cars driving down 85, the I-85 corridor, come into Alabama, they get pulled over, and they got $20,000 in cash in the car. And they say, well, this must be drug money.
Right.
Because no one's traveling down I-85
I do.
with $20,000 in the car.
Oh,
You are going to get hurt. Now that people know who you are, they go, he's got $20,000.
matter of fact, I'd take a ride out of here.
And so they can take your money.
Even on suspicion that you may have commissioned a crime, you know, or knocked over a bank or something, they can still take your stuff.
And then some places can use the money.
And let's face it here.
Can't the sheriff's office and the police offices use this money?
Take the money.
Yeah, they can. Yeah. They absolutely can. All they have to do, or they can sell your assets. All they have to do is run illegal in a newspaper for X amount of days, and then it's illegal enough notice to seize and sell your assets. Whether it's cash, it still has to run. Whether it's your car, whether it's your storage unit, yes, they can.
I think I read about this.
Do nothing about it.
I read about this in the Bible, where the king would seize your ass and sell them.
Yeah, that's pretty much what's happening.
Well, this was, initially this was all to pay for the war on drugs. You see.
Yeah, it's which we're winning any day now.
Yeah,
we're gonna get tired of winning.
Yeah, we're so tired of winning.
So anyway, the supposed good guys are taking your stuff and keeping it, and you got to sue them to get it back. Well, welcome to Alabama.
Just like the founders intended.
You've been watching the voice of Alabama politics. You watch us because we watch them.
All right.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Governor Ainsworth. Happy birthday to you.
All right. Thank y'all. There we go. Got it blown out.
All right.
Thank y'all so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.